So after moving on to round 2 of the hard start troubleshoot issue, round 1 was replacing the electronic engine start system. That did not solve the issue, so then I need to go through the fuel system and make sure she's getting copious amounts of fuel. So I knew I first had an issue the first day I picked this up and I fueled her up. If you ever fill this thing full of diesel fuel, it'll leak all over the place and you're left with a mess. Now, the company I bought this from said that they're all this way and it's just the way they're made. That's a load of crap. They are not made to do that, and if your Humvee leaks fuel after you fill it, you have a problem. What I'll do is I'm in the middle of pulling my fuel tank down. You can see it right there, and we'll go over the standard cleaning and maintenance procedures for these and the procedure in which I pulled the fuel tank down. To give you an idea where I started here, the first thing I did is there is a breather that goes up to the neck on the fuel fill stem. That's one of the first things you want to remove. The second thing, which I didn't do till later, but you just so well do it first, is you also want to remove the drive line. The way there's the that's the transfer case end, and there's the differential end. The reason you want to remove your drive line is because the fuel tank on top actually wraps around the drive line, and it makes dropping the fuel tank a lot easier. So there's the fuel tank right there on the top of it. Now your drive line, as I was saying, ends up sitting right in there. So in order to get this top piece around the drive line, it's just easier to remove the drive line. It's 8 bolts. Once you have the drive line removed, you'll want to drop both hangers. And not only do you want to remove the bottom part of the hangers, but you want to remove the top portions right there, if you can as well, especially in the back. You'll need to. I don't think I removed the top portion on my front hanger until I had it maneuvered out of there. Once you have those out of the way, you'll want to disable your fuel supply and your fuel return lines right there. A few clamps and 2 pieces of rubber hose there. Just slide them back. Once you have that done, you'll want to remove that breather right there. This breather connects to that hose right there, comes down to the front of the fuel tank right there. And then the back breather is actually the one that goes to your neck. We should be able to see it right back in there. And that connected to the neck right there. Now once you have all that removed, you'll want to start working on the neck. What I ended up doing is there's this rubber piece that goes between that steel piece and the fuel tank right there. I removed the clamp, and then I removed those 3 bolts at the top of the neck. This allowed me, with the fuel tank loose, to kick the fuel tank over enough to slip the neck down past the fender right there, and then I was able to pull the neck out the side of the fuel tank just with force. After I did that, I was able to pull the fuel tank down and set her on this board right here. Now that we have it partially pulled down, you can get a good view of the top of the fuel tank here and what to expect. The first thing you'll see are the wires that need to be unplugged for the fuel sending unit right there. It tells you how full your tank is. Right below that you have the breather valve. The hose goes up to your air cleaner and is your breather system. And then you have your fuel supply and your fuel return lines right there. Now as you notice, I'm missing a few nuts on top of this plate. That's the reason it leaked all over the place, especially this corner one. Yeah. There's enough of a lip there that whenever you hit a bump, fuel will come splashing out. Now you can see a little cable connector that holds that breather hose. There's a 3rd nut missing there. What ended up happening is somebody replaced the fuel sending unit, and they either just didn't put the bolts back or nuts back on the bolts, or I'm not quite sure what happened. I just know I need to fix it. So I'll be pulling the fuel tank completely out, going through it, cleaning it, and then resealing it and putting it back in. So I finally have the fuel tank removed, and during the process I questioned whether or not it was worth my time and worth the hassle, and I'm glad I removed it. I found a lot of goodies inside. As we look down in here, you can see there's some sand, looks like some rust, definitely a lot of dirt and a lot of buildup. And yeah, so now I'm going to go through the wonderful process of cleaning this fuel tank out and getting it ready to go back in. So one thing I gotta hand it to is they do put a nice access port on very top, so that at least you can get in there and clean it. So here's the inside of a very clean fuel tank. I just took about an hour to wipe everything down and clean it out really good. I'll get inside of here so you get a good idea of how this looks. Now one thing I would like to mention is this baffle that is, I guess you'd call it plastic welded into here. They look like little rivets right there. They tend to hold a lot of sand, so you want to make sure you spray those good with WD-40 or something else that's pressurized, just to get all the sand and debris out from the nooks and crannies. So we got the fuel tank lid back on. I used some of this Permatex gasket dressing and sealant. This stuff's made specifically for fuel system. So as you can see, I have a few new nuts up there. I've applied a generous amount of sealant, and I'm just getting ready to put it underneath and plug the breather valve in and start hoisting her back in there. So the very last step here is putting in your drive shaft. You torque those bolts to 57 pounds. And then on the other side, on the smaller U-bolts that hold it onto the transfer case there, you torque those to 27 pounds. Once you have it torqued and back on there, you can start her up and take her for a spin. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. Any additional information, links to tools or parts that I used will be provided in the description. Thank you very much for watching and have a wonderful day.